All right, we're live, Jennifer.
Hey,
Hello,
Eddie, how
everyone.
you doing?
Good, good.
Well,
You ready?
yes, 2025 Annual National Meeting. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, welcome, everyone.
I'm
We
Jennifer
gathered to,
Sullivan.
oh,
Hmm,
and
I'm
I'm
just,
Eddie Espinoza.
yes. And I just think that we should start out with our land acknowledgement, which in Florida, Oroco, Pahoy, and Alafe in my
Here in,
area.
oh, here in deep South Texas, the ancestral lands of Coahuiltecanos, Apaches, and Carrizo Comecrudo tribe. My name is Eddie Espinoza, and I was the Green Party candidate for Texas Railroad Commissioner in 2024, running on an anti-fossil fuels and pro-environment platform. Our people-powered campaign received over 300,000 votes, which was 2.8% of Texas voters. This significant achievement for Texas Greens secured ballot access for the Green Party of Texas for the next 10 years. I'm an Army veteran and retired elementary school teacher. My experiences of working with young students from South Texas has inspired me to be a peace and climate activist. People, planet, peace, all the way, all the time. Jennifer.
Well, yeah, that's so impressive. I mean, I'm really honored to be this, and it's got the Texas candidates on the back for 10 years. Well, I'm NC delegate for Florida, also spokesperson for the Women's Caucus, the National Women's Caucus, and their treasurer. I'm a state co-chair and organizer of the Green Party of Florida. And I've put events together in DC and in this area, Tampa and St. Pete, in for one thing, like the National Press Club, the Greens spoke there, and Busboys and Poets. I'm a volunteer lobbyist at the U.S. Senate and House in D.C. about the Four Pillars. I'm a past producer and host of the Tampa TV series. And I named it that. This was back when Obama took single payer off the table. I go, well, we're putting something on the table. So then we brought up we had a lot of different Greens and activists in this area on the show. And I also produced the Fairness Doctrine, which is a debate show, which we don't have because of Ronald Reagan. We don't have the Fairness Doctrine anymore. Anyway, and I'm on the merchandise committee and I was on the fundraising, and I'm on the international committee. And I have organized for Jill Stein, and I dumb exited in 1972, registered Green Party in 1996, and our local has been active since then. I think we are the longest serving local in the whole state of Florida out of 67 counties. And I've traveled to every single state and four continents, and I've been in participant in solitary groups with Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Bolivia. So are we ready to introduce everything?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, we're thrilled this year to bring you an exciting lineup of events, including
Tonight's candidate spotlight, and we'll have more on that later.
more workshops on Friday.
We'll have a panel on immigration Friday night.
An estate parties officers roundtable.
We'll have keynote speaker Miko Pelid, introduced by our very own, Dr. Jill Stein.
A presentation on the 2026 annual national meeting.
Candidate and campaign training.
An annual fundraising featuring Ron Placone, one of my favorite comedians from California, and he's sometimes seen on Jimmy Dore. So we're going to see his movie.
And on Sunday, we'll have a state of the party featuring reports on the 2024 presidential campaign, the Green Party U.S. elections database, and ballot access. And please be sure to check out all these events on the Eventee app, which all
This meeting is
registrants
being
receive
recorded.
in their email.
You'll be joining nearly 300 Greens from around the country at this meeting. We've raised over $16,000, including $1,550 for our Solidarity Fund, which helps make the meeting accessible for our marginalized friends. And I want to say, I was looking at the opensecrets.org, and we got to get this, we got to kick this up. APAC has donated this year over $3 million to our House and Senate candidates or people that are supposed to be serving us. They're getting $3 million just from that PAC. Let's leave out all the other corporations and so on. So the one thing about the Greens, Eddie, that I love is the fact that we do not take that dirty money. None of our candidates running it.
No, we do not. And we would like to recognize our committee members who have put forth their efforts, diligence, and passion to put this year's annual national meeting in place. There are many moving parts to a virtual event, and we are grateful to have volunteers outside of the annual national meeting committee serving in the capacity of room hosts for our sessions. We want to offer deep gratitude. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, you do it. Go ahead. I thought we were alternating. Go for it.
We want to offer deep gratitude to our wonderful staff, Athena Alma and David Doonan, for their support. The website, the program, and technology are all in place due to their hard work and dedication to our party. A sincere thank you from a Green Party member from South Texas. Thank you, and let's give them a round of applause.
Yay, twinkle. So, well, Eddie, we're in a beautiful multipolar world, and that's the most important thing that I think I've learned in all my traveling. And if I use the beautiful state of California to illustrate this, then consider a place that was ultra paradise. And it was, the weather, the location, the soil, they were perfect. And it became a literal breadbasket of the world. Everything grew. Unfortunately, there were those certain people who understood it, but only for their own good. It's been overworked and exploited. And I do not mean just the soil. It's been those hard workers that are mostly lovers of the land. What the USA and the whole world is in need of is people who not only are very intelligent, but ones that have a soul, that see lives 7 generations past their own lives. California can be saved, and it's not only the crops, it's the full condition for the population, and Greens can do it. Butch Ware as governor is a gift. He's a Green, and he can do this. And I believe that the Greens in the USA are a gift to the earth. We are here at a crucial time. I'm a union worker, a workers' rights, that I believe workers' rights matter, and I care about the only planet reachable, Earth, for supporting life. I stand for peace. Democracy means people rule. Our 4 pillars are nonviolence, social justice, democracy, and the planet. And they're all important now. Dr. Jill Stein gave us a warning. She said, as Gaza goes, we all go. Look at the multiple prisons for profit all over the United States. And who goes there now? Who will go there next? We need to be wise, and we need to be standing in with brother and sister to the rest of the world, to multipolar world. What do you think, Eddie?
All right. Yeah, well, I wanted to share this little this data or this weather report that came out. Yesterday, an airport in Iran had a feels like temperature of 182 degrees Fahrenheit. 182 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, why am I green, Jennifer? We have the best platform to help heal an overheated planet. We're the ones that have been calling for an end to a genocide in Gaza. We're calling for an end to American empires. We're the ones speaking truth to the country. We're the ones trying to save and preserve Mother Earth for future generations. We're the party that listens to science, reason, common sense, and climate scientists, Medicare for all. We have Dr. Stein and Professor Ware on our team. We have some of the brightest individuals on the planet here in the Green Party in the United States and also in the state of Texas.
That's so true. I mean, we are the party that everybody's been waiting for, and stop waiting. We're here. We've been here, and we don't take vacations every 4 years. We are here. So, it's very important that people realize that it's not anything you just sit around and somebody saves us. We are the ones that have to step. And I think some people think, oh, why bother to vote? Well, the reason we vote is because if voting wasn't important, they wouldn't try to suppress it, and they wouldn't try to buy them. So votes are very, very important. Your vote really, really does matter, and that of your friends. So, I mean, you need to do that, just that small step of voting. But I mean, if you can get out and help support some of our good candidates who you will hear from, over this weekend, I mean, that's even better. So, we're excited to introduce the evening's activities and the candidate spotlight. And the Green Party has a long history of running candidates for office with over 150 seats held at this time. As we continue working to change the system as well as the electoral process, and it needs a lot of change, we will be introducing candidates who are running for the upcoming elections. After all,
I live in Illinois. I joined the Green Party last year. Let's see what else. I'm an organizer for ILGP. I joined the National Media Committee because I wanted to know how our media works. We air on Wednesday nights. We usually have guests at 7 p.m. on the Green live stream. We're on YouTube, Facebook usually. Facebook's been pretty weird lately, and X, but I still call it Twitter. And I do all this wonderful work with my absolutely fantastic co-host, Mr. Scott Free. So couldn't do it without him. And he is now the chair of our party.
Yeah, co-chair. I'm a co-chair. Yes.
Oh, co-chair. Sorry. I always forget the co-part.
You know what? For a long time, there was only one. So that's
yeah.
why.
Yeah, that's why. We also do News of the Week on Saturdays at noon. This is all Central Time because that's where we live. And we spend a lot of time trying to bring the stories that not everybody covers. And for us, Gaza is the most important at this moment. It is the greatest tragedy of our time. Our governments are not doing anything about it. So we have to be creative in how we pressure them. Calling them, emailing them does not work. So we have to think of other tactics. And also we want to bring our communities together, make them stronger, because we're going to need them. We're going to need the people that live next to us. We need to get to know our neighbors. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. Scott, did you have anything to add?
I'll add just a little bit. First, I want to add that Kalia will be our special guest co-host for 2 shows in September. So looking forward to that. And also just that Yeah, it's really important. We just feel like the Green Party needs to be in that social media space of the YouTube channels and Twitter X and Facebook Live. And so we're in there and we're, plugging away. We're getting a lot more subscribers. And this is definitely a call out to anybody who's involved in the Green Party that's doing something really interesting, or you're running for office or whatever. We are looking for guests all the time. So you can just reach out to us to hear, even in the chat tonight if you want to. But yeah, it's just a really important platform, and we want to be part of that space. And that's one of the most exciting things for me. I've been around the Green Party for a while, but now I'm just super active in the past year, starting with the Jill Stein campaign. But what's exciting to me is we're seeing the growth of people supporting the Green Party, especially independent and post-duopoly is a common term. And that lives in the worlds that we kind of encircle with, like Revolutionary Blackout Network and help you with some others there.
Yeah, I know her.
Right?
Yeah,
I have to say that
we watched Brianna Joy Gray.
Brianna Joy Gray and Savvy have been
Zone.
super supportive. Gray Zone is very supportive, and so somewhat supportive. But yeah, it's just that's the space that we want to live in, and because we think it's a really important place, and so we're just thrilled that we can be here also. And supporting in this way, to be interviewing candidates. And we love interviewing candidates, but that's what we do.
Okay, so next we have Landon Dillard.
All right. Hello. I'm the host of the Green Comrade Landon podcast on YouTube. You can find me on that, and also on X and Instagram as well. Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. But we can't see you.
Someone said they can't see me.
Yeah, you're not on the stage. Somebody needs to bring him up. I don't know how to do that. But keep talking. You're doing great.
All right.
We see you at the top bar.
Also recently,
there you are. Yay.
All right. Also recently, I've been involved with the North Carolina Green Party, as well as the Young Eagle Socialist Caucus. But I got involved with the Green Party because of my passion for environmental related issues, racial justice, and also because, in my opinion, climate change is one of the biggest issues that we are facing, and we need a party that is dedicated to environmental justice. So that is one of the reasons why I got involved with the Green Party and why I support Jill Stein and why I see so much potential for the party going forward.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so very much. So my name is Kalia Fitzgerald. I am the host of Green Party Tea, where we spill the tea on all things Green Party. So we're on TikTok, 6 p.m. on Sundays, and we talk about things that are going on in the world with the Green Party, and we bring them together and spill the tea on anything that's going on around the country with the Green Party, as well as internationally. So if you have anything that you would like for us to share, any events that are coming up, please let me know, and I'd be more than happy to share your events or anything like that on the show at 6 p.m. Again, you can reach me on Instagram or TikTok at greenparty_T. And we are ready to spill some tea about all of our candidates here by asking them some questions so you all can get to know them a little bit better. So with that being said, let's have our candidates introduce themselves. And I kind of want to go in order of what we have. So our first candidate up for introduction is Gabriel Medina.
Can y'all hear me? Oh.
You're good to go.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. I'm like trying to figure out where my camera's at. Okay, here we are. I have like 3 cameras right now. So, hola everybody. My name is Gabriel Jesse Medina, and I am the first elected Green at the Pajaro Valley Unified School District School Board Trustee. I ran in 2024 and defeated a Trump Republican. And usually we have a very short margin between the candidates, and I ended up beating him by 3 times the amount. So I also built a coalition to come out and support being green. And believe it or not, us Mexicanos, we love being greens because guess what? The Republicans and the Democrats have not delivered for our community. We have dreamers who are still not having the proper status to be citizens of the United States. Right now, we have ICE, who is not only spreading, this fear, but they're also getting closer and closer into our schools. And in some instances, we've already seen them in our schools. So right now, my goal as a board trustee is to make sure that our students and that our labor's voices are being amplified during this time. And I'm really excited to be part of not only the Green Party, but the Latinx Caucus, and I will be hosting the immigration panel as well. So thank you all for having me. And that's just a little bit about myself. And I look forward to helping other Greens get elected, especially here in California. So thank you all very much.
All right. Thank you so very much, Gabriel. And next we have Justin Phillip. If he's here, let me just check and make sure. Don't see Justin. So we'll go to our next with Arshia Papari. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. And if I'm not, I'm saying sorry ahead of time.
Hello, y'all. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me and see me?
Hear you? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There we are. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate being here tonight and speaking as a candidate for the Green Party here in Texas, seeking nomination of the Green Party, of course, in March of 2026. And I'm running for state representative in Central Austin. I believe I'm one of the youngest candidates for state representative in Texas history. I will be 21 in a month. And just really looking forward to trying to bring youth power to the forefront of politics. As the Green Party, I know, of course, we've had a lot of folks who are youth taking to our initiatives and our political platforms, seeing a brighter future be possible and be within reach, but constantly being pushed aside by the 2 corporate parties. So we're going to be here trying to pull the youth forward into a green future altogether, and also represent the rest of our constituents. A little bit about me. I've been a student organizer for the last 3.5 years, got started in high school with education reform, climate justice, and free speech actions, and continued from there, going into supporting Palestine and leading a lot of pro-Palestine protests, calling for the end to the genocide and arms embargo, and additionally moving into more issues closer to home, especially here in Texas, with issues on immigration rights and supporting immigrant students at the University of Texas at Austin, which I currently attend as well. But I'd love to pass it over to our next candidates. And if everyone would like to, I'll try to drop a link to all of our campaign information here in the chat in a little bit. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. So Justin is here now. Justin, come on up and we will be able to get your introduction done.
Hey everybody. Yeah, hey, I'm Justin Phillip. I'm the secretary of the Pacific Green Party, which is the Green Party in Oregon. We're very excited about what's going on right now, and we're trying to build connection like coast to coast, which is why I'm kind of representing our North Carolina folks with my hat today. So, let's be our biggest cheerleaders, right? Like I think that's what we want to do. We want to build solidarity. We just had our summer convention, and we invited Butch Ware to join us, and we were very excited that he did, running for governor in California. Shama Sawan is running for Congress in Washington with similar goals as us. And so it's all about building solidarity, I think, and that's what we're trying to do out here on the West Coast. And we're trying to take that coast to coast for the Greens. We want to engage folks. And I think one of the interesting things we had at our convention was that Butch challenged us to take it to the next level, right? To start changing the mindset to having more of a winning mindset. So what will it take for us to win? What does it mean to win? How do we get from point A to point B? I think we're starting to have those conversations and not be just content being participants in the political arena, but really trying to see how do we take it from where we built it to this point to the next level. So we're very excited about sort of the energy that's happening right now, and we're looking to build on that. I personally was part of the student encampment at the University of Oregon when that was going on. So a founding member of the University of Oregon Faculty and Staff for Justice in Palestine. But I was already a Green before that, and the Greens are no Johnny-come-lately to that issue. As you all know, we've supported BDS since its inception in 2005. So part of the reason why I'm part of the Green Party, and probably why you are too, is because the Green Party has long stood on the right side of history on these issues, and we need to be running campaigns to not just promote our own campaign, but to build this party and this movement. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So next we're gonna have Chibu Asonye. Come on down.
Hey y'all, I'm Chibu Asonye. I am a 2024 congressional candidate for Illinois. And so it's great seeing two other Illinoisers here on screen with you at this annual national meeting, which is super awesome. I really enjoyed. I'm also the one of 3 co-chairs for the coordinated campaign committee. So local and state candidates are my bread and butter. Myself and my 2 other co-chairs, we actively try to support our candidates here and beyond. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm trying to think. I'm made in Central Illinois. I did run for office and I ran as a Green, and I'm really proud for running as a Green. And I am here today not only to celebrate all of our wins and to celebrate all of our candidates, but to continue to propel the work that we do here. And so, yeah, welcome everyone to our community 2025 annual meeting.
And we have, last but not least, if our other 2 candidates are not able to come in, Mr. Butch Ware himself, Dr. Butch Ware, sorry. He might have a minute to get up, but he's coming. He's here.
Yeah, I just think this is such a fantastic lineup. I'm very excited.
No, I mean, go Green Party. No, it's very exciting. And I'm thrilled to be here. And yeah, absolutely. There's Butch. Yes.
Sorry, I had to be upgraded to panelist from regular attendee. So it's a great honor and privilege and pleasure to be in this gathering. I was proud to run alongside Dr. Jill Stein in 2024 to finish 3rd in the race for the White House, and proud to accept the nomination of the California Green Party, the endorsement of the California Green Party to run as our gubernatorial candidate in the state of California, envisioning California as the tip of the progressive spear, and looking forward to building green power. As Justin mentioned, we are the last best chance that humanity has right now, because if we leave this polity in the hands of Team Blue genocide or Team Red genocide, then humanity is doomed either by environmental or nuclear holocaust, or probably both. And so if we understand that this moment has been waiting for the Green Party to step into the void and become that true opposition party, become that true representative of the people, then we need to be on the field to win. So I'm proudly a member of that coordinated campaign committee, not just running my own campaign in CA, but also trying to build green power across the board. And I want to take this as an opportunity to invite everyone who happens to be inside the state of California right now to consider running for state legislature. We have until March 3rd of 2026 to get that slate together. And when I move into the governor's mansion, we're going to need teammates because we're going to have a lot of enemies on both sides of the aisle. So I'm looking forward to, especially a lot of you younger folks who are looking forward to cutting your teeth in politics. We're building a strong campaign. We're well-resourced, have a great lean team that will give you the support that you need to run for state legislature. So we're collecting teammates. I was happy to play Scottie Pippen to Jill's Jordan in the 2024 electoral cycle, and looking forward to bringing teammates on as we run towards victory in CA. Peace and power, y'all.
Awesome. So now we are getting down to the real part of spilling the tea, where our green media gets to ask our interview questions for our candidates. We're asking that you keep the time to a 1 to 2 minute maximum so that we can have time for everybody to answer these questions. So you should already have your order in which we're answering these questions in. If you don't, then I will definitely let you know as we bring them up. But we're going to start with Eyde and Scott for questions. Then we'll go to Landon and myself. So let's take it away.
Okay, so I guess the first thing I have to ask, since it just happened, is the question would go to Butch, and just a commentary on the fact that Kamala announced that she's not running for governor. I would love to hear.
He stole my question. I didn't even tell him.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess, Kamala really does not want to see me on a debate stage. That's the first thing that I'll just say about that.
Thank you.
Sadly, I think that this is part of her positioning to run again in 2028 for the White House. I think that the nation's loss is California's gain because it gets a genocidal Black imperialist out of the way in the California gubernatorial election, and it really opens a lane for us. Finishing in that top 2 is going to be much easier with a bitterly divided Democrat field who are nonetheless all on the AIPAC payroll. And so we are going to be able to message very clearly that an independent choice, a politically independent choice that is not owned by corporate interests, is in the best interest of all Californians. So we're going to run on housing, healthcare, and education, not incarceration, war, and deportation. So that's the game plan. And with Kamala out the way, that becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, I was very excited when I heard that. And I was just curious how people are responding to your message in California, since I don't live there.
Yeah, Gabe and I have done events. I've been up and down the state. We launched early because we wanted to make sure that we built an infrastructure and ground game. And the reception has been overwhelming. I think that the biggest thing that's been striking for me is how many people have come forward basically saying that they've never voted, but they voted for us and they're supporting this campaign. And my wife said to me on the way to one of our events, she's like, your superpower is you can convince people that don't believe in elections to vote. And I said, yeah, and we're going to need it. So we're going to have to not just get a lot of disaffected Democrat voters. And we've got a lot of people in that camp. We've got a lot of people, that are disaffected Republican voters as well. People don't know that in the last 2 polls that came out before the election, Jill and I were actually pulling more folks from Team Red than we were pulling from Team Blue. But I think that there's a massive amount of people in the state of California that are just completely disaffected with politics as usual. And that's the response that we're getting throughout the state, and especially from the activists and organizers that are most engaged in mutual aid and direct action, working at a community level. When they see us coming, they're ready. So that part has been beautiful. And we're looking forward to continue to build that strength 10 months leading into the primary.
Excellent.
Excellent. That's
Yes.
very exciting. Deb, do you have anything else for Butch? I could talk to you all night, but
No, Kalia, you just let us know, because we'll keep going with our candidate until you just Because we want to make sure you're watching the time.
I mean,
Yep,
I
I
mean,
got
the Democrats are at 27% a favorability rating now, and Trump has dropped 57 points since he took office. So I think that's a really good opportunity for Green Party to fill that space. But yeah, I kind of had a question for Gabe.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about them
California.
bringing the police in schools. They voted to bring the police in school. He was the recent guest on our show, and
Right.
I was really shocked that happened. How was that going? And what are the implications?
Yeah, so gosh, so yesterday was actually our board meeting where we were going through the MOU between the Watsonville Police Department and the Sheriff's County, because we're in a pretty big district that spans multiple counties, and they made it 16 pages. They made it super long. But little do they know I love reading. So the devil's in the details. So as I was going through and marking that up, I was just noticing that they were trying to use language like, if the police suspects, if this, if so it's kind of giving like this appearance of social justice because they're working with a mental health clinician. That's how they're getting it passed to get more votes in, by pairing it with that mental health clinician. So in doing that, you know, if you criticize it, it's not going towards the police department. They're trying to frame it as you're going after mental health services as well, which I totally threw that out the window. I'm like, no, we're going to keep this separate. So yeah, I marked it up yesterday. Unfortunately, it did pass with a 4-2 vote. And interestingly, we have our only Black trustee who had mentioned that they were not able to attend these meetings. So the more conservative end of the board actually put those up so they had their votes in order for it to pass. And they did that again last night as well, knowing that she wouldn't be there to be able to mark up the SRO memorandum of understanding that we have. So, and get this too, we are finding out that our middle schools, who usually have actually being shaved down to one counselor per site, per middle school, because we are putting up this contract with our SROs for $300,000 plus. So they're taking from mental health services and putting it into policing of our students, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's horrible. Horrible. You know, the other thing, Gabe, that I wanted folks to know was your recent encounter with a kind of ICE wannabe that you made a video of, and just so people get a real sense of what's happening in California. I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, what we do is we have your advanced rapid response. So essentially, if anybody reports seeing a vehicle that's unmarked, looks like ICE, they put it out to our social media pages, and then the community knows what's going on. So around 7:30, I got called that there was helicopters flying around. Some of the farm workers in the field were running away from the area. And since it was in my district, I hopped in my Toyota truck and went out there into the fields to see what was going on. And what happened was they had the Wildlife and Fish Administration. It's like a department within California who goes off and just makes sure, you know, like cannabis, people have their like permits and stuff like that when they're out fishing. So they actually raided a cannabis farm. And, you know, a lot of us were a little suspicious of that because, like I mentioned in the podcast that we had, like I felt like this was a run so they could see how we organize. So and we turned out, you know, I was the only elected official out there questioning them. I asked the person, you know, who was like the communications rep, what's your badge number? What are you doing here? Are people being detained? Are you know, people on site who not only know Spanish but Mixteco, Triqui, and these other indigenous languages? And also, are you going after the owners? Because they're the ones that are hiring our community at these locations, and they're the ones that are issuing out more certificates and approvals than they should. So when these raids happen, they're not raiding the owner's house. They're coming to the people who work at these places. Some of them are even teenagers, right? Because a lot of these people take advantage of our community in ag. So we had that scare, and that really opened our eyes to, okay, they know our game plan. How are we going to amplify this now for the next time that they come in?
Yeah, I remember you said that you asked for his badge number. His name is Kevin. He's number 7.
Number 7. Yeah. I was like, okay.
And I'm like, that sounds like you just got, officially dubbed today.
Yeah, probably deputized that morning. Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. Go.
Yeah. Once Butch is in the governor's office, we'll talk Butch about
That's
that.
right.
We gotta do some stuff about that department right there.
Well, I support Butch's campaign. I donate. I don't have a lot, but I donate a little. And I tell everybody in California that I know. I lived in San Diego for almost 20 years, and I have lots of friends there. So I talk about you all the time, Butch.
Appreciate that. And I just wanted to add to Gabe's point. I mean, this has been on the campaign website, and I've made social media posts to this effect. As governor of the state of California, I'm not obeying any unconstitutional order, which means that ICE is going to have to go through every single lawyer and law enforcement officer in the state before they touch a hair on the head of any California resident. And anybody like the local police departments and sheriff departments in LA and in Santa Ana and all of the other places where they've been caught with their hand in a cookie jar, cooperating with the feds to violate people's basic civil liberties, those people are going to pay. We are going to prosecute those folks, because in point of fact, you are supposed to be able to call your local police department if somebody shows up with a mask and a gun and refuses to identify themselves and tries to put you into a van. That's when you're supposed to be able to call your local law enforcement. Your local law enforcement is not supposed to be engaged in facilitating extra legal abductions. And the fact that Team Blue enables all of these ICE abductions is a massive confession of their long-term complicity in the demonization of immigrants and the erosion of all of our basic civil liberties.
Yep.
absolutely.
Thanks to both of you for the fight you're doing. I know it's kind of a front line right now, California.
And I just got to say too, like Butch has inspired a lot of people to get into office because of that race that he did. And I think, I over here, but everybody knows Butch over here, because a lot of people are actually in a more decentralized way of getting their news, right? And they're seeing a young face like Butch Ware, who's just like unapologetically himself. And that's exactly what we need right now. And we see the Dems trying to put out these little TikTok videos that are just so like staged and bad. And they're just not with the times. So I appreciate Butch, and we have to get him in office in order to make these changes that we want to see, and just to protect, our immigrants and all of our populations that are here. We also have a big Muslim and Arab population here as well. And, the one big thing that I'm trying to do is with my community is exactly what they did in Gaza. The practice that was done over there is being implemented over here now. The detention centers, the surveillance, all of that is happening to our community right now. So that's why we need to stand in the fight with Gaza against oppression and against our common enemy, which is state violence. So thank you, Butch.
Just a point of contention there. The cop cities were built under Democrats, just saying.
Absolutely. All of them.
So I guess we should move on. So Justin Philippe, if you want to come on up to the stage. We've not met, but I've seen you in lots and lots of chats in different spaces. I'm so glad to see you sort of in person, get to see your face. I was wondering what made you decide to go for the national level, to go there to DC as green, and what good do you think you can do there?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is my second time running, and the reasons haven't really changed since 2024. So, I had been organizing with the Green Party. I believe the Green Party platform. I believe we need an off-ramp from this continuous cycle of violence and oppression. And I think, as Butch put very eloquently in another space, like the best way to get rid of oppression is to remove oppressors from seats of power, if I could paraphrase. So like that's ultimately what we need to do. And so here in my district, I was already like on the state coordinating committee in Oregon. We needed a new local chapter. There wasn't much energy. In 2022, we started a new chapter in Eugene, Oregon, which is home to the University of Oregon, sort of our flagship public university. And so, and then I ended up working at the university, and then Gaza happened, which we already cared about, the Palestinian cause, as we've said. So, my job and my politics sort of collided at that point. There was a huge mass student movement, as you all know, on campuses across the country, including our own. Ours was one of the encampments that started later, but it was one of the longest, I think maybe the longest encampment. These kids camped out in the rain, pouring rain, like so much respect to these students for their commitment. It was miserable conditions, honestly, but the community was very supportive. The community was bringing down supplies and stuff, but people were having to like bring in pallets and then put their sleeping thing on pallets because it was all flooding, because it's Oregon, it rains in May. So I mean, they started this in April, I think. So, and this was on the heels of what happened in UCLA, right? As faculty and staff at the University of Oregon, we saw what happened at UCLA. We saw students be brutalized by people, be shot by rubber bullets, and we for sure did not want to see that happen to the students on our campus who were fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
So, that's when the University of Oregon Faculty and Staff for Justice in Palestine sort of happened, and it was inspired by the students. It was inspired by the Students for Justice in Palestine. They led the way, and we supported them. And I felt like that was like the right way to go. So then the next step was we asked our university to divest, and I apologize if this is a very long answer, but I feel like it's worth it.
Go for it.
Hearing. So we asked our university to not be complicit in this. It's the very least we could do. This is what we can control in our own community, is to ask for our own community. Sorry, getting a little emotional about it.
Yeah. Oh
To
God.
not-
All the time. Yeah. No, honestly,
Yeah, no, I
on our
understand.
show, we break down a lot. It's a difficult time. It's a really difficult time.
I went and spoke in front of my, I go to the Unitarian church, and I haven't been there in months, but it's some people that don't come to our protests, that aren't organizing with us. And I just decided Sunday morning I'm going to go speak to them, and I spoke on Gaza, and I almost cried in front of like 50 people, but I got through it. So we
Yeah.
understand, and it's okay.
You'd think we'd be toughing it up at this point, but I feel like it's all really hitting home for me. But anyway, so yeah, so like then it's just like, what can we do? Like my elected representative continually votes for aid to Israel that enables them to carry out these atrocities in our name. These people represent us. That's literally in their name, right? They're U.S. representatives. And this is not how I want to be represented. So I might have to cut myself short, but that is why I'm running for the most. I mean, I already believed in the Green Party, and I already believed in the root of all of these problems are in the money and the rot of the corporations and the billionaires that control these two major parties. And we're just seeing it come to a head in a very tragic way right now.
Yeah.
But there's lots of other evidence for it that predated this, right? So yeah, I appreciate you bearing with me, but yeah, that's why we do it. That's why we do it. And it was not like an aspiration of mine to like run for public office, but I looked around and it's like someone's got to do something.
Right.
I know.
We're all just
That feeling.
when I'm trying to recruit candidates, I'm just like, we're all just some guy, we're all just some person trying to make a difference, Jill Stein is that person, Butch Ware is that person. Gabriel, by the way, congratulations. you're an inspiration for winning. But yeah, you know, I want more people to we just need more people to step up, because solidarity is required. We don't even need ranked choice voting. All we need is some courage and some solidarity. And then we can do it, you know? We just have to like unseat these people from power, because clearly they don't care. We've been begging 2 administrations now. And there's the only way we're going to stop it is to just unseat them.
Yep.
Frankly. So
Yeah, we begged 2 administrations and it's only gotten worse. And
yeah.
they've gotten more and more radical towards us, and more, you know, the suppression, and you know, Chris Hedges says fascism is here. I think it was kind of always here. Now it's just out in the open, and they're doing it.
And I love that Kalia brought you in. Do you have a question for Justin?
Can it be like any, is it for like any of the candidates, or?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk to Arshia yet, but
Yeah. Landon will be up after you guys. You're
Yeah.
fine.
Well, then I just wanted to add that, you know, Justin, that's, you know, the thing about breaking down a crime, that's why we're in the Green Party, right? I mean, I've noticed that. I've really noticed that as we do our green live stream and stuff. We are a certain type of people. We can't, it's this, you know, genocide is really difficult for us. And that's why we're here. You know, people who are Democrats and Republicans, they could somehow, like, I don't know, they seem to be fine. And obviously the people who are the politicians, man, are they fine. They have figured out a way that they can just channel whatever, however they do it, and they can just turn it into you know, a bad speech or some kind of, you know, they're detached. And I think that's actually why they were successful as politicians, because that's what their donors want. They want detached people that they can control. So there's a reason that we are all in the Green Party here. So I just want to make that comment.
yeah, and they're in it for a career. We are in it to change things.
Right.
Yeah. So I did have a question for Arshia, if you want to bring him down real quick. And I guess Robert's not here, so I'll just kind of ask a general question about Texas, because I don't know a lot about Texas. I mean, of course, I've driven through a few times because I lived in Southern California. But how is the Green Party message going around you? And you're going to run for a state office, correct? How is the response to you in Texas? I'm kind of curious.
Yes, for sure. I'll be running for state representative in Texas House District 49 in Central Austin, and I think really it's been a duplicitous sort of process where we're seeing a lot more of the youth, regardless of what party affiliation they've had in the past or their parents have had, all very much being engaged with our campaign and with trying to support our campaign and supporting the policies of our campaign. And I think that's what's really pulling the Green Party forward here, is the fact that our policies are just better. We're working for the people. We're trying to run a government by the people rather than rule over the people. And I think the people are starting to wake up that they need representatives and they need political power that stands up for them rather than against them. In Texas, we're still growing, still developing our base and developing our communities that can support our campaigns and growing our campaign teams. But I know that there's a lot of new movement being generated here, and I'm very glad to see that. But I think definitely the youth are going to be the future of bringing the Green Party forward to the rest of the nation, and hopefully we'll see their parents and other folks around the country joining in as well as we see newer and better policies coming to the forefront.
Yeah, and you're very young running, so you are part of that future, right?
Yes, thank you.
And Arshia, I think that's really exciting. The fact that you're 21, and I mean, I want to get just more of a sense of like your friend base and your, you know, people around you who are your age. How are they reacting? And do you feel like there's going to be real success throughout that age group, because I mean that's a really important group if we could, you know, get them to be enthusiastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, and I'm actually almost 21, just a couple months away from being 21, but actually my campaign is fully youth led. The oldest person we have on our campaign, until a couple of days ago, was, I believe, 24-ish. So it is a very young campaign with about a dozen staff so far. And we're really trying to lead with that of, we have folks who are the youth seeing that they don't have a seat at the table, their values and their needs are not being brought to the forefront. And we've seen, for, as you all have said, 2 administrations, the youth took action to protest the genocide happening in Gaza, to take action for justice, standing with students of conscience across the globe. And we've only seen continued brutalization, continued false arrests, and continued beatings of students and youth, and also allies, standing up against the injustices that we're seeing here, not only in Texas, but across the nation. And I think with the fact that students have been fed up with that, have been fed up, as Justin has said, with the formality processes that universities force to try and divest, and then in the end try to quash as well, and in any other sense, have really led to the youth being very much, apologies for my friends, but being pissed off at the state of our governance here right now. So I think definitely they are a very lively and engaged group in the political scene, and we'll see where that goes here in Central Texas. But so far, we've had a lot of great support from the youth base, and I think the harder part will be bringing out older folks to support us. But I think, as with the youth, they're also seeing the lack of true representation within our government, and are open to shifting the policies and ideas.
Yeah. Well, that goes for all the generations. You all need to get a clue and vote green.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to affect retirement. It's going to affect your wage. It's going to affect your working conditions. It's going to affect your kids and your grandkids. So, you know, I did have kind of a general question. It just occurred to me. We're doing a rally for Amtrak, and it's going to be nationwide, but we're doing one here in Carbondale, Illinois, with Public Rail Now. I was wondering if anybody wanted to address like the transit and the train situation. I saw a question in the chat from Adam Guyman that's similar to that, but it made me think about, you know, our trains move freight and people, and Amtrak is trying to be privatized. I love working with the Public Rail Now people. They're fantastic. And I'm hoping the Green Party will support them. They, you know, the money is already in the system, but, you know, just like all the billionaires and the shareholders, they treat it like an ATM and they don't fix anything. Adam Barrington was on our show just on Wednesday and was talking about that we still have the same rail system we've had for like over 100 years. Like not much has been improved. And it's, you know, East Palestine is an example of how these long trains with hardly anybody running them, because that's how they mandated it, can destroy a community. It is still destroyed. The water is still not okay. And the company chose to burn off what happened instead of doing the environmental way to do it. So if anybody wants to address that.
Yeah, any candidate, you can chime in, please. Yeah, even if
Let
you're
me
not
just say what the question was from Adam Guyman. It was, do you support making transit a 24/7, 365 right, nationwide, state to state, fully wheelchair accessible, so people don't have to rely on Uber, Lyft, or other private limited options?
Yeah, I think Butch had something to say. Yep.
I'll go
I knew
real
he
quick.
would.
With respect to answering the direct question, yes, 100%. And I'll just go back to the way that you framed it, though, Eyde, because this is something that Gabe and I talked about at a Moss Landing event right? If you don't understand the interconnectedness of the toxicity in East Palestine and the toxicity of our politics in Palestine, then you've been missing the point. The baseline toxicity in our air and in our water and in our politics are all functions of the same baseline toxicity, which is that we have corporate-owned media, corporate-owned politics, and the neoliberal turn has made it so that everything has been privatized. And we should have known, many of us did know, that when Ronald Reagan was talking about trickle-down economics, that the original name of trickle-down economics was actually horse and sparrow theory. You feed a horse so much oats that it'll crap out that which it cannot digest, and the sparrows will be able to pick from what's left. But whether it's number one or number two, it's all a toilet, and we are on the receiving end of it. Because anytime you have a private profit motive standing in between the people and the delivery of basic services, then with the same money, you are going to get diminished service so that they can take their cut off the top, or you are going to pay more for those basic services. So I'm 100%, our campaign in California is that housing first. It's like everybody eats before anybody gets seconds, except for housing, right? Everybody eats before anybody gets second, except for housing. It's healthcare is a human right, and that we need free, clean, green transportation all throughout the state. There is no reason why we should not have a high-speed rail line running from SoCal to NorCal. There is no reason except that the lawmakers, the Democrat establishment, is in the pocket of auto manufacturers, that we're still continuing to think of personal vehicles, whether electric or otherwise, as the solution to our transportation futures. That's just not feasible. It's not reproducible. There ain't enough lithium in the planet to replace all of our gas vehicles with battery powered vehicles. So we are going to need to have a shift towards green public transit, and where better to start that than in the state of California?
Yeah, high-speed rail passed in California. I voted for it when I lived there, but I don't know what happened with
It became another mechanism through which the Democrat establishment gives handouts to private developers, the same way that $25 billion has been spent on homelessness over the last 5 years, and the homeless population has gone from 120,000 per night to 180,000 per night. You could literally have taken that same $25 billion and given every person sleeping on the street $25K annually. That's including the children. And that's exactly what happens with this privatization model, is that instead of just going to meet the people's needs, it goes to either NGOs or developers or other corporations that skim a cut off of the top, and the service never gets delivered.
If I can add a little side note, I'm in Chicago, and the AccuWeather alert, Chicago's air quality ranked worst in the world today, worst in the world. So just added that little note about air quality, which is tied into transportation, and
Oh, and you got something. I'm sorry for taking up too much time.
I just wanted to piggyback.
Landon, please chime in. I don't want to be a hog.
Well, we had two, I think Justin and Gabriel and Arshia wanted to answer that question, and then we'll have
Can you bring us
Justin
all up? Yeah.
I just have a combo.
I just wanted to piggyback. I just want to piggyback on that because I ran on high-speed rail in 2024, and let's run that all the way up the coast, Butch. Like, let's just take that all the way up. Because I actually just saw a thing today on how many flights were run between the Bay Area and LA. Like, that is like, this is an issue that touches on a number of our elements of our platform. It reduces emissions. It helps it address the climate issue. It makes travel more affordable for people. This is, I think, a winning issue for us in a lot of ways. I just wanted to piggyback on that, but let's and across the country, why, if we're going to truly make America great again, or whatever, like it ever was great, but if we're going to make it better, if we're going to make it better, why don't we want to have the best, public transit system in the world? Why are we going to let other countries beat us at that? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and I want to add to that too, because I know in my area there's a huge controversy right now with the rail trail. So the more affluent part of our county, which is Santa Cruz, right? It's a beach county, very high tech. A lot of people move there and kind of pushed us out to the outskirts and rural areas. So the problem with handing a project like this to the Democrats or liberals is a lot of people in my area, which is big agricultural town. You got Driscoll's, Giant Berry, all these Martinelli's apple cider. We're worried that if that trail gets done, because it's going to go from pretty much Monterey to Santa Cruz, we're worried about displacement, right? Because that means more affluent communities can now just hop on a train, right, go to work, come back, and then we're going to see an increase in prices for housing. Right now in an agricultural town that I'm in, it is $2,500 for a studio. I didn't even pay that much in Los Angeles for a studio, right? And that's because we're so close to Silicon Valley that they can't even afford some of the prices there. So what that's doing is it's forcing people to move out of the area near freeways where historically we see Latino and Black communities at, right? If you look at the history of LA and freeways, those freeways were built in Black and brown neighborhoods, right? So when we talk about transportation, the messaging has to be very clear. Like, this is for economic opportunity for all people, but we also have to put some guardrails in that says, okay, well, if this is going to happen, we want to make sure that the people who have been here are also getting access to housing and affordable housing at that. None of this, like, we're going to do affordable housing and only give like 5% of the units that are affordable, while the rest of them are just jacked up for the highest bidder. So I would hope that we could take this from the Democrats and make it our platform, because we know it's going to be more equitable and it's not just going to go to those big transpo people who want to just profit off of this and displace communities.
It's such a beautiful point, Gabe, and I'm just going to jump back in briefly because it ties together the fact that environmental justice questions are always racial justice questions, right? This is, always the case. And you just made, I don't know whether you were conscious of this or not, but you just made the basic rationale for why the Green Party is an eco-socialist party. Because if you simply look for the ecologically sound intervention without addressing the class dimensions, right? If you just say, we got to get rid of these coal mines, right? Literally, this is at the foundation of the starting of the Green Party, is we got to get rid of these polluting coal mines. Well, what are the miners going to do for work? What's going to be the economic basis for people's sustenance? And those two things have to travel together. And with a lot of traditional socialist framings of the question, the ecological dimension is not present, nor is the social dimension present in a lot of framings, especially bourgeois framings of environmental intervention. So we have the answers, and if we're doing a robust rent control, and if we are having a housing first policy, then that issue that you raise about those skyrocketing rents is going to be addressed. But if you just try to deal with the environmental piece in isolation without being attentive to the differential effects that could potentially have on disenfranchised communities, then you're going to keep systematically making the problem worse, which is precisely what Team Blue has been doing.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. And this is why we definitely love the Green live stream, because they are so wonderful and amazing. Scott and Eyde, I can't thank you enough. Been on the show, and I can't wait to guest co-host with you all. So if you are not following the Green live stream, from what you see here, I don't know what to tell you. Next, we're going to have Landon asking some questions of our candidates. So, Mr. Yes Caucus member, go ahead and take it away for us.
All right, my first question is for Dr. Butchware. So right now, Democrats have a very large majority in both the state Senate and the state House. So I'm curious here how, like, if you are elected, you will get things to the legislature. and get things done that you are running on?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. And this also has to do with, what Justin alluded to, which is flipping the switch in our heads from how do we win to how do we govern, right? Which is crucial. I already mentioned part of that problem. One of the first things I said in my introductory comments was that we are recruiting candidates for the state legislature. We are going to need some friends, but even if we're able to get into the governor's mansion and have a positive effect down ballot with state legislature candidates, we're still going to be walking into a den of vipers. Don't have any illusions about that. The way that it will have to work, and the way that I know that it can work, is actually modeled on one of my two hometowns. So Washington, D.C. is where I'm originally from, but I grew up largely in high school in the south side of Minneapolis. Jesse Ventura in 1998 ran as an independent candidate outside of the duopoly and won the governor's mansion. And the thing is that what will have happened if we are able to seize the governor's mansion is what happened in Minnesota in that time period, is that people on both sides of the aisle realized that they either had to get down or lay down because the people had spoken. Right? If there is a popular mandate that brings an independent candidate into office, then that means that every single person in that state legislature has been put on notice that they are out of work if they do not play ball with the people's choice. And because I'm not a politician, because I'm a public servant, I will be every single day putting everyone who stands in the way of the people's agenda being realized on blast, because I don't care if I never get elected to another office in my career, if I can deliver health care for everybody in California, if I can get the homeless population housed in the state of California, I don't care. Let Gabe go run for governor after me. Do you see what I mean? The point is that if it is actually about delivering for the people, then you leverage those positions. But the Democrats never do that. So I am going to be holding their feet to the fire, but we are going to need, in my estimation, about a dozen of our own folk running. Landon, I forgot where you're located. I don't know if you're in CA or not. But there's other folks that are roughly your age that you. Yeah, so I thought, you mentioned North Carolina, but the point is, then run in North Carolina. I mean, seriously, like we are going to need Greens at all of these state legislature levels. I want to commend Arshia for taking up that mantle. It was great to meet you when we were down in Texas. And we're going to need that kind of robust roster, because we will be able to do it with a lot of enemies and vipers around us, but we need some friends too.
So my next question is also for you. So last election, there was like a lot of unity between like the PSL and the Green Party. So I'm also curious here, would you be open to like building a coalition with the PSL or the Peace and Freedom Party or any like other leftist party in California?
We're always open to coalitions. I will say that PSL making the decision to run a candidate against us in the state of California is deeply disappointing, especially since a lot of our volunteers were PSL people and they were not consulted on this decision. And I'm just gonna be blunt about this. Y'all gonna have to get out the way if that's how y'all want to play, because we announced this candidacy in February. We're running at the top of the gubernatorial ticket, a candidate that received 1 million votes in the national election, and you're running a social worker that nobody's ever heard of. You could have just as easily run that person for lieutenant governor, and we could have been banging on them folks, shoulder to shoulder. But when you do that, what you are signaling is that for you, solidarity is a one-way street. So with all due respect, I had great relationship with Claudia de la Cruz. PSL and Ventura have been, there side by side with us in all of our Palestinian liberation activities. But I feel a certain type of way about that. I'm not even going to pretend like I don't, because that is not how you win. Now, don't get me wrong. PSL has never gotten more than 0.2% of a vote in anything. So I'm not worried about PSL's candidate. It's just a missed opportunity for solidarity when we know we are striving for the same basic aim. And I want to say this to something that Justin raised, because this is crucial. This is why Shama Sawant and our teams met. We've agreed to support one another and to not be shooting at each other, because we understand that we're stronger if we can form these kind of coalitions. But coalitions are a two-way street. Coalitions are a two-way street.
So my next question is to Chibu Asonye. So in your last congressional run, you ran as a write-in. What would you do differently this election cycle than you did last election cycle? And as a member of Congress, what would be like your number one priority in Congress as a member of Congress?
I'll start with the last question, and good question. So thank you for asking. The first thing I would do for Congress is make a statement for everyone, all of my peers, people who would be my peers, that every bill that they want my vote on needs to be a single focus bill, very clear, nothing stacked, and every bill that comes to me needs to be focused on the United States of America and people in our borders and in our states. I believe in international solidarity, which is why, and that what happens here happens other places, and what happens other places will happen here. But ultimately, I have very small locus of our control, and rather than exporting our problems other places, I would like to hone in on focusing at home. It would look like focusing on clean water, focusing on the youth. So ensuring people could vote, ensuring people have a big thing for me was student loan forgiveness. Living in a college town surrounded by people who are, I was 27, 28 now, you know, a lot of the people who are around me have $40,000 worth of student loan debt, you know, and they went to state schools. So I would like to see moving forward, think as a campaign manager for current candidates and advising folks who are running for Congress, I say you are running for United States Congress of America, not of another country, not another space. And solidarity is very important, but we need to focus on what's going on at home because we're not being taken care of. We have homeless people here. We have issues here. We have dirty water here. Being in Chicago, I'm not in Chicago, but being in central Illinois near Chicago, Flint, Michigan is a sister city for a lot of the places here. Flint, Michigan still has dirty water currently right now. So one of the first things I would do is let's get 100 days of America First legislation and focus at home and getting some of those small tangible things, getting grants to those towns would do a whole world of a difference for infrastructure. Then your second, I think the first question was also really good, but could you remind me what it was?
So last election you ran as a write-in, and I'm curious here, what you would do differently this election cycle than the last election cycle.
Yes, if everything was the exact same in 2026 as it was in 2024, which in theory it would be, but well, actually it's going to go worse. In Illinois, our ballot access got dropped, and they made it more and more difficult for 2026 for people to get on the ballot. So if we were lucky and it was kind of the same, I would first start by making more alliances on the front end because it was harder to get my name out there. But once people learned about me, they loved the concept of a young person running for office, someone who was a third party and outside of the duopoly, and someone who was very focused on like Illinois first issues and also had a mind for what was going on the international stage. So Gaza was, of course, on the forefront of the militarism, and as a example of what happens abroad, coming home and militarizing us here at home. And I was able, here in Illinois, I was lucky. Not all Greens have that ability of being able to get like media access. And so as more people learned about me, they jumped on and were excited, but it's still small. It's a lot of area and a lot of people for a small amount. So I think I would honestly make more, get more endorsements. So for the fact of these groups who already see what I'm seeing, have a vision, and want to like have a seat at the table, also have a stake in the larger on my larger campaign, rather than me. What I did was like, here's what I'm doing. Like, I'm this person and I'm here, and the Greens are saying yes. And now I'm offering you like this, like I made a table. Now you all can come by as you want. And so as people joined in, they're all in. But it took some time to spread and to share my message. I also think that a way to fix that would be to put out ads. I got good at fundraising, and I got good at talking about myself and to others. And so I would use my money not only on like physical signs, which I did and in my community, I would also use it for digital ads. I think is a very tangible thing I'd recommend people do in the future. So you can't say no to those digital ads. They are very helpful and they are noticeable. So they do a lot.
Okay, thank you so much, Chibu. Dr. Ware has to leave us a little early, but if you would not mind just giving us a little bit before you leave so that we will not be missing you once you leave, and make sure we stay up with your campaign.
Yeah, so I put, if you're in a position to donate, please donate to the campaign. We've been able to get, I think we're over 1,000 donors now nationwide that are contributing to the campaign. But what I'd like to just say in closing is that the Green Party has an incredible opportunity in this moment to become the revolutionary party that we've all needed, right? That we have this opportunity to serve as the vehicle through which we move these social movements from mobilization around specific issues to organization against the system that is producing the oppression. And the great revolutionary theorist and practitioner Kwame Ture used to like to say, revolutionaries don't just mobilize around issues, revolutionaries organize against systems. We have this incredible opportunity to channel the mobilization energy around Black lives and around transforming the carceral state, around abolition, into organization against the system. We have an incredible opportunity to transform the mobilization around Palestinian liberation and the broader anti-imperialism and broader anti-war movements in which that is embedded into organizing against the system. We have the opportunity to channel the mobilization around ICE abolition, the protection of immigrant rights and dignities, the protection of all of our civil liberties. But right now, these are mobilizations in silos. And unless and until we grow into the party that is capable of organizing people into that resistance movement, providing a single tent under which all of those resistance activities can be housed, then we will not deserve the title of opposition party. So that is for us to earn, that is for us to build. And my salutations and deep gratitude for everybody who is running, for everybody who has run and won like Gabe, for everybody who has run and lost, because it is going to take fight. We are going to have to fight these people. They cannot be reasoned with. So we have to take the fight to the streets, to the communities, and actually consolidate power, because they are not going to respond to moral appeals. They are only going to respond to defeat in elections. All
Thank
power
you
to the
so
people.
very much, Dr. Ware. And please follow his campaign as we see what a bright journey that's going to be for California and hopefully for the rest of the US. And Landon, you are now welcome to continue on with your questioning. Got
All
about
right,
10
my
minutes for that.
how much more time do we have?
10.
Okay. My final question is again for Chibu Asonye. So, how would your voice in Congress be different from some of the progressive Democrats that we have in Congress right now, like AOC or like other members of the squad?
Yeah, what Illinois for Congress of 2026 is putting forth to the world, something I'm pushing for, and we have a congressional candidate for Illinois District 11, Illinois District 11, I believe, and her name is Alexandria. I would say the difference between us, what we're offering, and what the current progressive are offering is honestly more bite and to stand our ground. What I believe was expected of the squad was one, a united front so that when they voted, it meant something, which did not end up happening. And two, for people to be willing to put forth a fight and be transparent. Part of why it's so important for me and for future Illinois congressional candidates and our local candidates is to demand transparency is because in actual like policy conversations, they're not as transparent as, well, we see that they're not transparent. But even for individual lawmakers, they're not transparent. They want to keep you confused, overwhelmed, and dependent upon the machine to make your decisions. And what we're saying is we're not. So we want single bills because we need to be able to read the bills. Bills can't be 600 pages long because no one can read that in 8 hours, which is how long they're given. In Congress, you can make noises. You have a platform to make demands and then to get some of those demands. And that could, and so what Green congressional candidates offer, what I was offering, and what Illinois congressional candidates are offering is we get there, we're a united front. We are voting not just for Illinois, but we are voting for all of America because all of America is watching us. And Illinois will benefit. Mississippi also has to benefit because we're all connected, just like Flint, Michigan, and we're willing to not be invited to a pool party or a reception, but be at work at the same place because we have to be at work. And that's what we're doing. We're just here kind of getting things done. And so I believe that the difference between the current progressives and the Green Party leftist progressives is we mean what we say when this is a demand that can't be changed. If it's not a single bill, we're going to vote no. Well, Medicare for all, yes, but they also put military and they put funding for something that we don't want to fund. So that all has to go. And they know why. And then which is what I think AOC and some of the other progressives don't do, is sometimes they don't want to stand on business. Like, tell the world what you asked for. Tell the world what they said no to. And then say, like, here's the bill, here's the things, here's what we want to cross out, and here's why they said no. They'd rather have APAC money. They'd rather have, a different kind of big ag money. They'd rather have other things. They don't want to have the interest of us. What we're bringing to the table is American interests and only our interests at heart. Our very diverse, complex, nuanced interests, but those are our interests because it's our community. So yeah, that's what I was offering. That's what I'm continuing to offer, and that's what future green young congressional candidates are offering, a whole united front. And that united front has so much power because we see the Republicans using it. So the power is there when you make those demands. And when you stand on 10 toes, with a few other folks, it's a lot easier to stand. But yeah, a stand your ground and a push for what Illinoisans want, but for what Americans want for us, not for private groups, and for our future. So those are the things that I'm gonna, yeah.
I just want to thank Chibu for representing Illinois so well.
Yes, absolutely, Chibu. We
Amazing.
love you.
Lenny, did you have any other questions you wanted to ask?
That was the last one I had.
All righty. So
Thanks, Landon.
okay, so we're going to round this out, and I am going to ask one question for each candidate and allow them another chance to say something about their campaign and what we can look forward to seeing them. So this question is actually coming from Susan for USA. And Susan says, calling and emailing our representatives and not getting a response is unacceptable. It's taxation without representation. What can you/we do about this? So we're going to go Gabriel, Arshia, Justin, and then Chibu.
So, most of my constituents actually contact me through social media. I also have a weekly newsletter where I actively ask them, like, hey, this is the agenda. What do you guys want me to bring up or talk about? So I'm making sure that I'm having that communication, because that's what people ultimately want. They want to feel seen and they want to feel heard. You know, and I do have constituents that I have pulled in from the Conservative Party that do go against my values, and I love just chatting it out with them, like, oh, this is very interesting, like, how could we work together, or can I kind of show you my perspective on it? And most of the time we come to an agreement. So just having direct communication that are outside the traditional platforms, I think, is doing tremendous for us in building up our coalition as a Green Party. You know, it's new, it's fresh, and the next generation is just tapped into it. Right. I'm on all social media platforms, y'all. So Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, just to make myself accessible for my community. So that's what I do. And I also love going live, like go live. That way your constituents could have that direct, you know, contact with you. Usually during the school session, every Sunday I'll go live at 6 o'clock, or when they release the agenda, and I'll actually just go over it live as I would do by myself. So people are a part of that process so that they know what I'm looking for.
Thank you so Gabriel. Is there anything else you wanted to add at this time?
All I want to add is thank you all for being such good hosts, and all my panelists here. This is the future of the Green Party, y'all, and you know, let's help each other out. I'm glad Chibu was running for Congress, because right now the margins are so thin that if we even get 3 Greens in there, we're going to have so much weight in what we could determine gets passed. So let's start getting people elected. Let's encourage younger people to get involved with the process. And one thing that I am working on right now that I'm hoping we could adopt across California when Butch Ware gets in there is work with your youth to lower the voting age to 16 if that hasn't been done so within your area. Getting youth activated now so that way they're prepared to vote when they turn 18 is only going to help us as a Green Party. So I'm hoping that we can encourage more people to go to those local elections and build from there while others are starting at the top, because we all need to meet somewhere in the middle, because those state houses are so important for our party and getting things passed. So that way at the national level, it could be seen as something that could be replicated, right, on a much bigger scale. So that's all I got to say. Stay green, stay safe, and stay sane, y'all, during this crazy time.
Thank you again so very much. And next up, we will have Justin.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry. So I guess there's a couple different ways you can interpret that question, right? Like Gabe interpreted that question as like, what can he do differently to get elected officials, like assuming, because he's elected, right? But like the other way to interpret that question is like, how do we get our incumbents to listen to us? And I just don't think they ever will. So the only other option is to unseat them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a study that was done by a couple of professors, one from Northwestern, one from Princeton. Some of you may be familiar with this, but there's basically zero correlation between the voting record of Congress and public opinion.
Yep.
They don't care what we think. Our incumbent Democrat here in Congressional District 4 of Oregon refused to meet with Palestinian rights protesters for over a year. It wasn't until we ran a campaign against her that she decided she was going to meet with protesters or advocates for Palestinian rights or people who wanted her to stop voting for funding a genocide. So we have to leverage our power. That's why we're here. I mean, and we have to understand the job in front of us and take it seriously. And that's to like really take these people out. And, you know, by ballot, right? I mean, this is the most realistic way we have to do it because honestly, the ballot is like the extent of most people's political engagement. Like we're here in a bubble right now. Like a lot of us are very politically engaged, but if we're honest about the general population, they're not. So how do we win them over, right? So, I mean, it's just a very basic corruption versus non-corruption sort of message, I think. But because they're never going to listen to us. Like when we get office, yes, I think we should be very transparent, right? We should always be in tune with what's going on in the streets. We should be activist candidates, and we should be recruiting candidates from our activist community, so that we're always in touch with those folks. Like one of the big issues I have, like Eugene, and I'll wrap it up right here, but Eugene has one of the highest, I think the highest per capita homeless rate in the United States. So while Gaza is a humanitarian crisis abroad, probably the biggest one, like foreign affairs wise, homelessness is the biggest crisis, moral crisis here at home. And it's only going to get worse. There's studies that have been done, like the biggest growing segment of the homeless population are retirees. People don't have savings anymore. This is the system that we're living in. And until we unseat the oppressors, we'll always be subject to their whims. So, I mean, we just got to step up and not take it anymore and convince our fellow citizens to not take it anymore. I think a lot of them are already on board with this. The two major parties are already very unpopular. We just have to sell ourselves as a viable path to something different.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Good luck on your campaign. Thank you for coming. And next we have Arshia.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I wanted to start off with, that is a very, very intense question, something that we really do need to make progress on, really do need to make sure that those who serve in government serve the people, not power or profit. And I think that is, in essence, where we're seeing a lot of this come up, in that, as Justin said, Congress really doesn't listen to people. Highest support rate for a bill or low support rate for a bill, it all has around 30% viability for passage. And similar things are happening across the states as well, on the more local and state levels too. So I think really copying a lot of what Gabe and Justin said is, we need to engage every voter we know, every constituent of these people, to pose a challenge to them. We can no longer sit by idly and allow these representatives, allow these public servants who are there to serve the people, continue to serve profit and continue to serve their own interests, or the interests of their special interests. And I think that starts with several different levels. I think one is protest and making it known to the rest of the people who they are supposed to be serving, that their representatives are not listening to them, are not there voting for them. And then moving into things where we can see volunteer lobbyism. Something I've done in the past extensively has been volunteer lobbying, advocating on behalf of my communities, in the halls of power. And I actually might be going to the Capitol again, Texas Capitol again tomorrow to do the same thing again, on the point where our state's being completely gerrymandered right now. If I'm pretty sure most folks have heard of that, but that's another step that's very effective. It's still in the same realm of they don't really want to listen to you, but now you're taking up space in their office, you're taking their time and their staff's time, making them delayed for things and slowing them down. And the more we can do that, if you can show up with 10 people from your group or 5 people or just yourself, they're at their office saying what they're doing is wrong and being a constituent, expressing your voice, that is very powerful. And I think the more escalated version of this can also be directly running against them, finding people to run against them, growing our electoral strength and growing our candidate base to have more people call these fraudulent representatives out and get the ball rolling for better, stronger, more people-centered representation moving forward.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. And again, good luck on your campaign. We look forward to seeing how it comes out. And again, last but not least, we have the wonderful Chibu Asonye.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'll just go. Well, one, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And great questions, Landon. So thank you so much. Please support Illinois, and the best way to support me, if y'all really appreciate me, is to support the larger Illinois Green Party. And we have several candidates coming up for 2026. And the best way to do that is to yes, including Eyde.
Lieutenant Governor.
Yes.
Go home,
So
right?
we have it. Yes, we are going to have a large statewide slate of folks, because in Illinois we are battling actively people, or we are battling a system which is actively trying to keep us off the ballot, make it more and more difficult to gain the ballot. Illinois used to have ballot access, and now we do not. They made it used to be 90 days to get signatures, and now we have 60 days to get signatures. These are all things part of the lawfare, as a word that you might be hearing, that are very, very true, very, very real, and very tangible to our state and to the larger state of our democracy. And so support us by going to the ilgp.org and donating, becoming a volunteer. And if you are in Illinois, please become a volunteer, and then you'll help us gain ballot access. But more so, you'll help us gain these folks to get them on the ballot. It's going to take over like 1,000 people, and we are small but mighty, and we are almost there, but we need more and more folks. So that's the best way to support me, is to support them.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Chibu. So that concludes our
I just wanted to mention, people were asking about the green live stream. I put it in the chat. I didn't realize I was texting to you guys instead of the open chat because everyone wasn't available earlier. So I'm trying to catch up. But
yes, that's exactly what I was going to say next. So thank you to our green media and our candidates for coming in and doing this with us. If you would, please put the links to your campaign or your shows in the chat so everyone can keep up with us from today moving forward, because we want to build our green media so that more people will be able to get to see our candidates and the things that we talk about at the Green Party, since we are not always welcome in the traditional media spaces. So thank you all so very much for coming out and listening to everything our candidates had to say. I hope they answered your questions. And now we will have the wonderful Philena Farley coming up, and she will be doing our closing for this
Okay, I'm going to try to share a summary of what the workshops were today. I hope everyone enjoys the summary. I'm going to see if it can work here. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Oh, I don't know if it's working. Uh, Okay, let's see if it works. Oh, wait, that didn't work. There we go.
Well, Scott and I attended a ballot access one that was really good earlier.
Yeah, excellent. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Lots of info, lots to know. I'm learning as I go. But you know, we have people there to support us, so I think that's wonderful.
Is it coming up for you guys?
Yeah.
See a go green with a rocket and a sign up. Is that what you're looking for? Hmm.
I crashed. Oh, yeah, it crashed on me. Let me see if
Oh,
it,
Oh no.
I don't know. Let me try again.
Well, I was gonna say you could just if you wanted to just maybe tell us about your favorite ones or any experience that you had.
Well, we also have a survey, and I did wanted to share the survey as well with you, with everyone, while we're still on. And I'm not sure if I can do it through here. Let me see.
you know, I wanted to add just one little thing. I actually went into each one just to check them out, you know, before this tonight's meeting. And the one thing that really got me was how many people were there. That was super exciting for me. I mean, the media one was packed, and it was like, and I didn't even know those were happening until today. I just happened to look. I was like, oh my God, all these seminars are happening. So I popped in, but that was to me really exciting. Is how many. I don't know how many people are here now, but man, that was great to see all the people getting involved already on Thursday.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful event that we're having, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if it works this time.
Something's happening.
Yeah, I see something.
Oh,
Wild about wildlife on Thursday. Did that happen already this morning? Thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate it. And if you can support your local candidates and your local Green Party, donate, volunteer, run for office because you'll have people there to help you. Join the Green live stream if you want to talk politics with us because we love it. We tried for an hour, but we usually go 90 minutes because it just gets too good.
It really does.
Yeah, and donate, donate, donate. Even if it's $5 a month, it will make a huge difference if, you know, enough people do it for sure.
What was that you said on your show? 26 for 26?
Oh,
yeah.
$20 for 2026. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can, $26 for 2026 or 2025 or 25, my plan is to do $26 each month to a different campaign or state to try to boost that out there. And that's what I got from being on the Green live stream. So I think that'd be a great thing for us to think about, because you don't have to be in that state to actually donate. We want Greens across the US to be doing well. So I love the 26 for 26.
We have a big hill to climb here.
And I think what's really also important, folks, is that you get on the social media pages of all of these campaigns and all of the state parties, and comment, share to your page, however that works for you. But it's really important to help spread social media for Green Party across the country, in all of the states and all of the campaigns. So please, that helps us a lot too.
Yep, I just put up my Eyde for Illinois page on Facebook, and people are already coming to it.
Right,
I don't even have my website yet. I guess I put the cart before the horse, but I'm like,
yeah.
Gaza, I got to get out there and start talking about Gaza. So that's what I did. Doesn't take me much of a nudge. So yeah.
I was so happy to hear you were running.
Yeah.
And for governor, I think it's I want to get the name right. Is it Robin?
Griselda Romero is
Griselda
running.
Romero.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. See, I
Romero
had
is
the
running
name.
for governor,
Yep.
along with Eyde, lieutenant governor, and they make a great team.
Yeah. We went to the Chicago Pride, and Scott got us in the parade with GLN. So Griselda's like, hey, we need to pick up this Palestinian flag. Nobody's holding it. So she had one corner, I had the other corner, and we're walking down the street like that, and Scott came and took a picture of us, and we're using it for everything. She's amazing. Like, we converted somebody in our Uber in like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, he was
He's
convinced.
like, what? Green Party? And by the time we got out, he's like, yeah. There was those conversations that tend to spread. Yeah.
And it's an exciting.
Some people are not in the know. Eyde, some people are not in the know that the schedule for the entire 4 days is listed on Venti.
Oh yeah. Right. And what it is there's a little tab for each day. So you just, I think it was in the upper right-hand corner, at least I was on a computer, and you could check the tab, and then you scroll down and you see them, and you click on them, and it allows you to come right from clicking on the each event.
Yeah, apologies. Tech is not always our friend. Because I was posting to the host and panelists because I didn't have the everyone tab, and Kalia had to tell me. I'm like, oh, there it is. It wasn't there before. So Zoom doesn't always work the way you think it will.
Well, I'm not sure, Philena, if you were able to get everything up and going. So if everybody has dropped everything in the chat as far as their ways to get things done, that would be great. And we'll be able to get everything taken care of from there. But I do want to thank you all for coming out to the opening of the Green Party Annual National Meeting, because we are very appreciative of you all being here. We're very appreciative of the fact that you got to see the Green media and the candidates that we had today. And we really appreciate the time that you gave us to allow us to open this meeting for you. And we wish you all the best for the rest of this week. We will see you at the different events, and hopefully we will see you at our shows as we expand the Green media to something that is worthwhile for not just the Greens, but everyone. So have a great night, everyone. We will see you around.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.